Hello, everyone. This is a continuing story, the one I started telling yesterday, that followed a Russian strike on Odessa and Odessa region and the smaller ports that are located there. So apparently, the vessel that got struck during that attack was a civilian Turkish vessel carrying sunflower oil to Egypt. And sunflower oil is one of the major Ukrainian exports. So, no surprise there. So, I'd like to remind everyone, including NATO, that Turkey, for all its shortcomings, is a NATO member, has been a NATO member since the 1950s. Not only that, but two other Turkish owned vessels were damaged. And this comes on the heels of Moscow's threats to cut Ukraine off from the sea after Ukraine had worked to dispatch three vessels belonging to Russian Shadow Fleet. Well, I think that what that promise to cut Ukraine off from the sea was a little bit rushed, considering what Ukraine did to Russia's Black Sea Fleet. But again, Russia's threats aside, I once again want to remind everybody, these vessels belong to Turkey. Turkey is a member of NATO. And there is a strong suspicion that the attacks were deliberate. I want everybody to process this very carefully and consider the implications. Once again, just as those of us covering the war in Ukraine have been warning this entire time, this goes beyond Ukraine. Are you going to stand for it? In addition to the strikes on the Black Sea ports, there have also been attacks against the energy grid, the civilian infrastructure, leaving 1 million households without power. And not surprisingly, attacks have been more intense with the coming of winter. Because again, they know what winter is like in Ukraine, and again, they basically threaten to freeze people out. Yeah, that's a real peaceful sentiment. That really sounds like somebody is totally looking for a peaceful resolution. Yeah, freeze them out. This attack included 450 drones and 30 missiles, and all of that got fired at Dnipropetrovsk, Kirovohrad, Mykolaiv, Odessa, and Chernihiv regions. So, once again, just to remind you all about the geographic structure there. So, Ukraine's regions are not really like states in the United States, but they're more like counties within an individual state. Just like your counties have a county seat, Ukrainian regions have a central city, and usually the region is named after that region, after that city. So that's how it works. So when we are talking about Dnipropetrovsk region, that is the region where the center city is Dnipropetrovsk. If it's Odessa region, it's Odessa, and so on. And you can look them up on the map. And actually, I suggest you do, because if you look these regions mentioned in this article on the map, you can see the scale of the attack. According to Russia's defense ministry, one of the weapons used in the attacks is Russia's Kinzhal hypersonic missile, which is hard to track because it can change direction mid-flight. So it's not something you launch and it just goes, and you can calculate the trajectory. That is problematic. One of the most successful things against Kinzhals has been Patriot air defense systems, but as I mentioned in the past, we don't have enough of them. Russia insists that Russian police and National Guard should stay in Ukraine's Donbas region after the war. Excuse me? On what grounds? Who wants them there? In general, before they commit to leaving their police, National Guard, and any officials, military or civilian, they should take a closer look at what is going on with the underground movement in the occupied territories today. Those people don't get to stay in their jobs very long. Just saying. That, as I mentioned a few days ago when I talked about the underground movement, that doesn't get enough coverage, and it should. Because it is a great illustration to show to people who are saying that some Ukrainians secretly want to be invaded by Russia. Go and look up Ukraine underground movement or Ukraine resistance in occupied areas. Don't take my word for it. Feel free to fact check me. Go and look that up. Because acts of sabotage against Russian military and Russian civilian government officials take place nearly every single day. Multiples of them in various areas. And once again, Ukraine targets Russia's oil industry by hitting Russian oil infrastructure in the Caspian region. And this is the second time. And that's another thing I want you guys to go and look up. Again, you don't have to take my word for it. Look up the Caspian Sea on the map. Now, the Caspian Sea, it's a bit of a misnomer because it's actually a huge salt lake. Usually the sea is something that has a connection to the ocean. The only reason the Caspian Sea is called a sea is because of its size, but it is completely land enclosed. That area is one of the richest oil deposits in the world. And so, yeah, if Ukraine is targeting that infrastructure, that is going to definitely hit Russia in the oil pocket. More to come.